Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to talk about another surah in the Qur'an. This is one of my favorite surah. It is Surah Al-Falaq, or in English, the Daybreak. So I say this surah a lot as a part of adhkar and just in general. And I think the more that we understand, the more knowledge that we have on what these surahs mean, what this surah means, the more protection from I guess wrong that we can have, and as well as having a deeper connection with Allah. So I'm just going to start. First of all, I'll read this in Arabic, and then I'll read it in English, and then we'll go through the meanings of Surah Falaq. So I'll get started. So Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب من شر النفاثات في العقد من شر حاسد إذا حسد. And in English, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the dawn, from the mischief of created things, from the mischief of darkness as it overspreads, from the mischief of those who practice secret arts, and from the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to talk about my understanding of what these mean and how we can be more knowledgeable. And basically it's important to actually go through these things for me in my own language, because if I'm just sort of reciting and not understanding the meanings, it can get a bit pointless. But if we actually go through the meanings in English or whatever language it is that we're native to, this actually helps us to deepen our connection with the Qur'an. So I'll start by talking about the first ayah, the first verse. So Bismillah. Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of the dawn. Now, what I get from this is the dawn is an amazing time. It's basically the separation between night and day. So when we think about the dawn, we think about like a new beginning, or the beginning of a new day, the beginning of a new promise. And basically when we start the day and we have this understanding that we're basically trying again to please Allah and to do our best, this is probably the understanding that I get from this first verse. And I think that's what I understand. And basically the time of dawn is like a time of hope. And yeah, I think that's what I get from it. And I believe that that inshallah that's close enough to what it's trying to tell us. Essentially, when we start a new day, when we see through the dawn, this is giving us a new beginning and hope as well. So the next verse, from the mischief of created things. Now, my understanding is that created things, that includes the insan, the human, and basically all created things are imperfect. The only perfect thing in all reality is Allah, but everything else is imperfect. So when this verse speaks about the mischief of created things, basically this is saying that within the human being or any other thing, but because it refers to created things. But for me, this speaks about the insan, the human. Basically, there's a tendency or a possibility to do good, and there's a possibility to do wrong. So the more we can be aware that created things, such as the human, has an ability to cause harm, we can seek refuge with Allah from this mischief and try to be more inclined to do good. And that's also knowing that within every created thing, including the insan, including the human, there is a capacity for wrongdoing. So that's what I gained from the second verse. Now, it says here in the third verse, from the mischief of darkness as it overspreads. So my understanding here is that, the darkness overspreads at nighttime. And the most obvious and clear meaning or interpretation you can gain from this is that basically the nighttime is a time for this supposed mischief. When do you think robberies happen? When do you think other bad deeds happen? Usually at nighttime when no one else is watching. And I guess we're seeking refuge in God from the mischief of this lack of radiance, or this lack of clear sight that we see during the daytime. So that's what I gained from this. It's a very, very, very basic understanding. Maybe there's some hidden hikmah to it, but my understanding is that when it becomes dark, for example, when the sun goes down, well, that's the only time when the sun goes down at nighttime. That's a possibility for people to maybe do mischief, and we need to seek refuge with Allah from this mischief, right? Now, the next verse, from the mischief of those who practice secret arts. The reality of life is that there are bad people that do bad things. They can, our understanding in Islam is that there are people that engage in magic, and we know it is sihr, but the basic translation is magic, and we want to be far away from anyone who does this, because my understanding of anything that involves magic is it's kind of dealing with the devil. So you don't want to be around these people that do these bad things, and we should seek refuge in God as much as we can from those who are essentially bad people, right? So that's that's what I understand about the fourth verse and the last verse. And from the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy. Now, my understanding is that this is specifically referring to the devil, right? So we seek refuge with Allah from the mischief of the envious one as he practices envy, right? Hasad. So we don't want to ever come close to being envious of anything, because as soon as we envy things, it's kind of saying like, look, I'm not good enough to attain any goodness, so I'm just going to try and kind of steal goodness from someone else. And it's not a good way to be. And basically, we need to be aware that there's bad forces out there, and we seek refuge in God from any of this, because it's a terrible thing. So I love this surah a lot. I recite it a lot, like I've already said, and basically, as I understand it, the way I understand it, we should always be on watch for any kind of hasad, anything like that, and we should stay well clear of it if we ever know or hear of anyone who does any of this stuff, because we are essentially pure as humans, and we don't want to become involved in a profitless trade. Essentially, anything that takes us away from our tawheed, and anything that takes us away from our position as insan, right? So that's all I want to say about Surah Falaq, the Daybreak. If this has benefited anyone, then I hope it has, and I'll be back with some more explanation of some more chapters, some more surahs. So thank you very much, and have a good day.